Alrighty, appears to be live.
Alrighty.
Just checking that all on my phone. So this is something I've been meaning to do for a while, and have a bit of a break from work. So I thought, why not jump on, play about a bit. This is really just me getting used to streaming and all the different ins and outs of the software, how it all works, and whatever. I am dipping my toe in by just using Google YouTube Studio and using a native kind of way of doing it through YouTube rather than getting some advanced software and doing lots of different complicated stuff. This might be a one-off, it might be a regular thing, I have no clue. But the plan for today is basically I'm going to do a little bit of car shopping, which I'll explain now in a second. I might do a bit of gaming, kill some time in between, if depending on what sort of interaction I get. I can talk about my upcoming projects and all the parts I have sitting here beside me, which are going to be going on the Suzuki Alto Works HA36S, which if you watch my videos, you'll know I've done a few videos on so far, but I've got a few more to do. I can always talk about some of my previous projects and how I started getting into cars and some of my very first projects as well. But I'm going to kick things off by talking about car shopping and looking for a specific car. So after I imported my Alto Works into Ireland, there was a guy in Ireland that owned an older Alto Works, and he was thinking about getting one like mine as well. So he started looking around. He saw my video on importing a car from Japan into Ireland and using B-Forward, and he found a couple on B-Forward, and he put offers in on two, and both of them fell through, which is, well, I didn't have that experience. Mine just went very straightforward from the get-go, but maybe that's the normal thing, I don't know. But there was two anyway that he put in the offers. I think one of them was sold before his offer came in or something, and they hadn't updated the site, and I don't know what happened to the second one. But he is still looking, so I thought just for the crack, I'd have a little browse around myself and see if we can sort out this screen sharing thing as well. So it'll probably take me a minute because I'm all new to this. Okay, so share screen. Entire screen, window. There we go. Right. So I'm going to start by looking at B-Forward because that is where I got my car and I had a pretty good experience with them. But I will look at some other sites as well and see if there are any other options out there. Just kind of spread the net a bit wider. What I'm going to do start here is log in. I think I must be logged in already because I looked at this earlier on today. And have a look for Suzuki Alto year. The year that HA36 started was 2015. And give it a search, and then I'll be able to filter by more items like the gearbox because he's looking for a manual. So transmission manual. If you were going to exhaustively search, I probably wouldn't put this filter on for the transmission because sometimes I mentioned this in the video, but some of them are incorrectly listed, and you'll find some little hidden nuggets in there. But for the moment, if you select manual, you are only going to get the Alto Works because all of the other type of Altos were automatic only. So this will really streamline it down. Can I go? See, there's different ways you can list the 36S. You can see there's 555 there, DBA, and there's 3BA, which I don't know what that is, but let's go with the DBA. That's the chassis code. Oh, there we go. 72. Why is it bringing up this one? A four-wheel drive. Maybe you can get the non-works ones in. It's interesting. Okay, well, the first two are not works cars anyway, for sure. This is the first works one. Are these? I'm going to change the euros. And is it by lowest price? I don't think it is. Price, low to high. Okay. There's one person watching. Study is life. It is live. Yes, cool. Thank you. Right. These all don't look like works. There we go. Here's the first one there. 2016, 4,641. So in the same ballpark mine was. He is looking for on the cheaper end of the scale, so that's why I have it ordered by price. Manual. I might just open that one up and have a look at that. 153,000 kilometers, which is kind of on the high side for Japan, but not really that high. That bumper looks a different color. So either that's extreme paint fade or it's been changed or maybe repaired. But the fog light there also looks totally sun bleached. Definitely spent time outside anyway. Is it just me, or does the bonnet look a different color as well? Yeah, some red flags. It's definitely the works because of all those blank buttons. There is another Alto that's the Alto Turbo RS or whatever it's called, which is they're all automatics, but you know the difference because it doesn't have all of these blank buttons here. There's a lot more features in those ones. Pretty standard stereo. No rips or anything like that. Looks okay. Steering wheel not fucked up like mine one was. Yeah, it looks all right. But the front would concern me a bit, to be honest. So if it was me, I probably wouldn't look at this because you're going to have to factor in it potentially a respray for the bonnet and bumper, which is just hassle. You don't want a car that cheap. So what's the next cheapest one? What was that price landed? So 4,641. That's landed to Dublin on the roll on, roll off. Next cheapest one is quite a lot more. So it's interesting that they doesn't seem to be as many on the cheap end of the scale as there was even a month ago. But I guess it ebbs and flows. Silver's always a good color for these. If it'll load. Nice dealership. You got a N1 RS there and an S660 in the background. Looks pretty tidy. Not a whole lot of photos though. That steering wheel looks new or freshly recovered because normally they're very shiny. Oh, what is that? Is that the front or the back? Reversing camera, maybe? Or is it something here? I don't know. Looks fairly standard. It's not modified. There's no pictures of, there's no extra gauges or crazy stereo stuff and all that. The floor mats are still in place. There's no pictures of the engine bay, so you don't really know for sure if it's modified or not, but it looks like a fairly standard one. What is going on with the seats? So it looks like there's little red accents on the seats on the bolsters. Is there any pictures in the inside? No, there's no pictures of the inside. Either they're seat covers or protectors or something like that. Don't know what's going on there. Anyway, 177 again. It's kind of on the high end. For that price, yeah, I think mine was about, was it 4.8 or something like that landed. 2019. I guess that's probably why it's a bit more. Yeah, it's definitely an option. If it's been well maintained, like that mileage shouldn't be an issue. I'll have a flick through a few more before I go looking at any other websites. A black one. This is interesting. Let's have a look at that one first. Okay. I don't know if that's an aftermarket front bumper or just painted differently. It's got a front lip on it. There's no fog lights, so either that's off. Base model. Actually, looking at the grills here, that's not the works. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Let's keep looking. Again, kind of simplified it's been wiper deleted on the back. There's no spoiler though. This almost looks like a standard one, or maybe a van. Watanabe wheels, very nice. Actually, I just want to take a look at them. Yeah, I would love to get a set of those, but it's be too expensive to bring in. They look like lowering springs, if I'm honest. The coils are way too close together. But the shocks don't exactly look aftermarket. Oh, right. This is a base model one. Yeah, the mileage is super low. I think it's just a modified regular one, non-turbo. No, that's not what we're looking for. So on the black one, what year is this? This is 2016. Good mileage. Saying 651 kilos, which that is not true. None of them are 650. The lightest one is the two-wheel drive manual, which is 670. So that's not correct. But anyway. Is that missing the trunk cover, or is it just not shown? Aftermarket mats. In the back as well. I don't really like them, to be honest. Don't think it suits it, especially with the lines on there. I think it's just a bit too much. It's definitely a works. More photos. USB cable, presumably from stereo. That's more like what the steering wheel generally looks like, just a bit more shiny. Kenwood head unit. I'm sure it's all Japanese, so it won't really work here. 2 keys, which is nice. Mine didn't come with 2 keys. Jesus, somebody's been shining up this engine bay. No aftermarket air filter or anything like that. Standard ECU. So it's completely unmodified. Height-wise, the suspension is super tall, so that's not modified either. Oh, this one's got an auction sheet. Let's have a look at this. Grade 4B. What's the mileage? 123. Oh yeah, okay. Two-wheel drive. What else can we glean from this? HID headlights. I thought they had that as standard, but okay. Fog lights, maybe just listing out some of the standard features. Bluetooth. Yeah. I think it's complete stock. Condition wise, A1's around the place, B1 U1. Yeah, it's not immaculate, but nothing serious. And the paint does look original. It's never been painted or anything like that, just from the initial look of it. Wind deflectors. That looks like a fairly nice car, in fairness. If you're just looking for bone stock. Again, it's a good chunk more expensive than what I spent on mine. I know it's low mileage, but still. Just got a work email there, just making sure it wasn't urgent. I'm just on lunch break at the moment, so it's fine, but I have to keep an eye. Okay, out of curiosity, I am. Oh, let's have a look at this before I move on. I was going to say I'll have a look at the other sites, but there's one just like mine. Some aftermarket wheels. Always take a look at that. Heavily modified. Yeah, let's have a look at these. What sort of wheels are they? I have no clue. I don't like them. Bronze is kind of interesting though. So that looks like a standard hood, just painted matte black, as opposed to carbon fiber or anything like that. Eyelids and this kind of center section of the grille is changed. That is all swapped out. Oh, I see why the bonnet is like that. Now I get it. They've changed, I would say, to a front mount intercooler. It looks like here. Unless that's just a standard aircon radiator. And the regular rad, I don't know. Maybe just open it up for better airflow. It's definitely a different front bumper because the lip is completely different there. It's fairly chunky. Standard size skirts. Center exit exhaust, double exhaust. That's lovely. Yeah, I'd love to have one like that, but too expensive to ship them from Japan, so I will make do. It's funny that all that work is done on the front and they didn't really do anything on the rear. The rear spoiler is painted black, I suppose, yeah. Here's the wheels. I can't read what brand that is. It's one of the drawbacks of the standard listings on B-Ford is just low resolution photos. What I did for mine was I did Google Translate on the number plate. In this case, it would be fairly easy. Asuka Auto or 11. Do a Google search for them. You might find that they have their own website and they have the same car listed on their own website, and they have higher resolution photos on there. That's what happened with mine, and I know one other person that did the same thing as well. Those seats are looking a little bit worn, but not torn. Standard mats. All looks fairly okay. Oh, loads of images. That's good. Stereo, whatever. Dash cam. ETC reader. That is being upgraded to an LED interior light. One key. Seems to be so common in these cars for some reason. I don't know why. It does look a little bit lowered, but not crazy ride height. Those headlights and fog lights look like they may have been upgraded to LEDs or something similar. Again, wind deflectors. Or MP. Still don't know what that is. Has any of you guys ever seen that brand before? Yeah, it's definitely lowered. Oh, rear reversing camera. And the HKS tips. That's a nice little addition with the carbon fiber surround there to protect the bumper from getting melted. And again, somebody else was asking me about this. why do some of the listings on B4 have auction sheets and some don't? It's because you're basically looking at a dealership here, and these aren't auction listings. They do have auctions on B4 as well, which is a completely separate thing. I'll get into that in a minute. But for the purpose of a dealership, they only ever have these auction sheets if they purchase the car from auction themselves and are now selling it on. And even then, sometimes when they purchase them from an auction, they may not want to put up the auction sheet, and they just wouldn't include it on it. But this is saying a 4.5B. What is it? 76,000 kilometers, 2016. That's very low mileage. 4.5B, two-wheel drive, which in my opinion is a better car, unless you need the four-wheel drive for snowy regions or something like that. All it's doing is sapping power and adding weight, reducing your miles per gallon, I suppose, as well. Right, Monster Sport. Oh, here we go. Monster Sport. I think that might be the front bumper. It's Monster Sport. I'm pretty sure it is, actually. It goes all the way up around the lights as well. And what else we got? RMP15. Again, that's that brand of the wheels. ETC reader, Recaro seats. Yeah, they're all standard. Again, that's a nice option. It is on the pricey side. The problem with buying one more expensive in the first place is that you're going to pay more in customs duty and VAT when it gets to Ireland. So even though the VRT mightn't be any more, the customs and VAT are based on how much you pay for the car, including the shipping. So it does kind of add up when you pay more for it. But depends how picky you are and whether it's a keeper or whether you just want to have a bit of fun and sell it on. Yeah, a few more just before I head on to another site. This is what's going on with the lights there. They almost look like they're tinted pink or red or something weird. What are those wheels called? Advance. I love those. I absolutely love those. I think they might look a little bit cooler in bronze on the white, but this is giving me inspiration now. It looks like it has a bit of camber on the rear, probably to make those wheels fit without poking out the arches. So I'm not crazy on that for a daily driver, but I like the simplicity of a 5-spoke wheel rather than the standard Yankees, even though the Yankees are very light. I would love to find a set of slightly larger diameter wheels. The ones that are on it at the moment are 15s. These wheels, they're 15 by 5 or something like that. And I think they're just a tiny bit small for the car. Here's a better picture here. They're an okay design, but I would love to get a set of 16s, but like a 16 by 6 is really the furthest you can go without having to stretch tires or use camber or whatever it is, that they're not going to poke out outside of the arches. Obviously offset depending, but if you go searching for 4x100 PCD wheels that are 16-inch and 6J wide, yeah, there is almost no options. I think I came across one option, which was a copy of an Alpina wheel, which is a very similar style, just, multi-spoke. It's got, I don't know, 10 or 12 spokes, maybe more, available in silver. They're a bit boring looking, to be honest. But that's the only one I found. They were made by Rota. So if anybody knows of a 16-inch by 6 wheel, whether it's OEM or aftermarket, I would love to hear about it. I prefer wheels that have less spokes than one of these kind of multi-spoke ones, just for ease of cleaning and just a simpler look. So this type of thing, but I can guarantee they are at least 6.5 wide, if not 7J. It does look fucking cool though. That is lowered quite a bit, but standard body kit. That's really interesting, the lights. I wouldn't do it myself, but it's cool to see something different. It also looks like the bottom part is it's like the opposite of an eyelid. It's the bottom eyelid blacked out, or am I just making that up? Weird. Yeah, you can see the camber there in the rear. Mm, not a bad looking car though. Hopefully there's some under the bonnet photos or something if there's that many mods on the outside. It just shows you the standard body kit, the standard side skirts and spoiler and everything can look really cool if it's just lowered a bit. Big ass exhaust. Well, for an Alto anyway. Here's your Adfans TC. Again, this image is just too low resolution to be able to figure out what the tire size is. I can't even make out if that's a 15 or a 16. I would guess it's a 16. Okay, it looks pretty standard on the inside. Is that a gauge in the corner? It looks like one of those cheapy multi-gauge ones. I'm not crazy about them. Let's see if we can find a better photo of that. Yeah. I mean, you could just remove it if you didn't like it, but oh, here we go. Speed, RPM. I mean, you have all that anyway. Fuel ratio or fuel. What is 1.0? I don't know. Voltage. Yeah. The head unit I have, actually, the one I got off Temu, the Android Auto one, shows the voltage in the interface as well, which is pretty cool without having to open up Torque or one of those kind of apps. Ooh. Manky rubber mats. So hopefully the genuine ones are below that. Looks like they are. What else we got here? Oh, here we go. Okay, so looks like aftermarket air filter, obviously blow off valve down here, it looks like. I don't recognize all of the intercooler types yet, but I think that might be a HKS one. I saw a listing recently on Yahoo for one. It looked like that. This is just to protect the air filter, I guess, so it doesn't get scraped against or knocked against the strut bar. ECU doesn't look aftermarket. Normally they have a little sticker on the top of them, like SWK or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so price wise, what we got? 9 grand. Well, just under 9 grand delivered to Ireland. Very low mileage, but 2015, that's as old as it gets. So that is, it's getting on a bit. It's 11 years old. I would say that is on the expensive side. But we have worked our way up through the list a bit more. So this is really just looking for curiosity's sake rather than actually buy one. Those get snatched up in America. Sorry, I'm missing some of the comments here. What do you think it'll sell for? Yeah, well, these are all the listing, the actual prices. I think you can, there's the buy now option, which basically means that the regular price is say 9 grand, and then you can get it for about €100 less if you go with the buy now price. There is an option on some of the listings where you can ask for a quote and you could put a bid in. So you could say, look, I'll give you 8.5 for that or whatever. But generally speaking, you're not going to get a huge amount off. If you want to save more money and also take more of a punt, the auctions are really the way to go there. So these are kind of like pretty close to the end price that you'll get. I just went with the buy now option. The reason for that, it was the P4 have a lot of listings that will have special offers for a weekend or something like that. So maybe say 15% off, I think is the one I had, which was already a chunk off. So I wasn't going to go trying to negotiate that further. So for dealers who just want to get rid or move stock through or whatever, they can do a short promotional window. Again, this one is kind of getting on the high side, but just out of curiosity's sake, that looks like a Monster Sport front bumper again. Don't know what's going on with the bonnet, but the spoiler looks, oh yeah, it's one of those cool ones. I think that might be SWK. It mounts the standard spoiler location on top of the roof, but it just kind of has this gap and then it comes out way further than that. So it's really cool style. It's got aftermarket brake lights as well. Definitely lowered quite a lot, and this must be some sort of Alto specialist because that's another Alto Works in the background, same generation. Oh, that spoiler is so cool though, isn't it? Look how far it comes out. I did see one of these for sale on Yahoo auctions about a week ago, and I don't know, because of the extra strain of those kind of two supports to come out, but or maybe just this particular one had a hard life, but all of the it was made out of fiberglass, and all of the joins around where those supports met the main spoiler were cracked, and yeah, it didn't look nice at all. It looked like something that was about 30 years old rather than something that's probably only 5 or 10 years old at the longest. It's massive though for that such a small car. Yeah, I like it. More. Show me more. You can see the weave in it as well. I don't think it's carbon fiber. It's just a case that they're never perfectly flat like an OEM spoiler would be. They're organic, shall we say. It's funny, the ones that have been the most modified on the outside have had almost no mods on the inside. Let's hope it has something nice going on under the bonnet. Ooh, haven't seen that before. So it looks like a cowl or some sort of thing for like a sunshade for the stereo. It's kind of cool. Nothing else going on there. No extra gauges or anything. Where was I here? I'll just flick through this way. I wonder, is that just stuck on or what? It kind of does look a bit stuck on, doesn't it? And then we'll go back, have a better look. I think that's the standard fascia. So yeah, I'd say it's just stuck on. Aftermarket coilovers. I can't remember the name of those. I knew them at one point. Obviously adjustable height, HKS exhaust. That is a Monster Sport carbon fiber intercooler intake, which I was very tempted to buy. They cost around about 120, 130 euro. But then by the time you pay for shipping, customs, all that stuff, it probably end up being 200, 250 euro for this tiny bit of carbon fiber. Does it really make any difference? It's slightly wider than the OEM one, but I think it's more for show than go. Maybe someday. I'm trying to calm down on the spending because I've spent a ridiculous amount on the car in the last month or two. Got very carried away. Again, I don't see any sticker on the ECU. So that looks like a fairly standard one. Are there any more shots of the engine bay? Yes, there is. So maybe I'll get a better look at the ECU. The standard air filter. Yeah. Yeah, that is a standard ECU. I mean, there's a possibility it's remapped by some local tuner or something like that, and they haven't put their sticker on it, but it's highly unlikely. They tend to want to show off. That's an ETC reader built in nicely. That's about it. So what is it? 65,000 kilometers. Oh, nice. Auction sheet again. 65,000 kilometers, 2016. 9 grand. Yeah. 3.5B. Now, if the mileage is 65,000 and it's got a 3.5 grade, that would lead me to think that it's not in fabulous condition. HKS is the exhaust, Blitz is the suspension. Monster Sport bumper, SWK spoiler, which I guess that HIDs, etc. TV is the head unit. It says something about ECU. Just for the crack, why has it got this little line through it? Oh, that's the left and right arrows. What for the crack? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Google Translate and drop in the image and see if it. What I do sometimes with this is the images are so small that when you put it into Google Translate, it can't actually pick up all the text on it. So what I have done in the past is save the image and then gone to like an AI tool where I can upscale it and keep all the text sharp and then put it back into Google Translate and then try and do it then. But anyway, ECU reprogramming, high octane specification. Oh, okay, right. So there you go. I was wrong. It has been remapped. The high octane thing is not really ideal, to be quite honest, for Ireland anyway, because all the fuel here is 95. It's 95. And the high octane fuel that those are mapped on is assuming you can get 98 octane. So you end up having to put in an additive to bring the octane levels up every time you fill the car, which I couldn't be arsed with that kind of stuff. I actually have a story about that, and maybe we'll use this as story time for a second before we go jumping back into cars. So yeah, this is a relevant time to bring this up. I will close down the Google Translate. Close down that. Stop the screen share. Okay, let's do story time. So I've got loads of parts here sitting beside me, and these are upcoming projects that will be coming on the channel at some point. So what I've got here is a key, Suzuki key. The AltoWorks has keyless entry, so it has got an actual hard key in this, but it's kind of hidden into the thing, like it's, you know. But you don't need the key generally to open it. And this, an ECU from SWK. So this is a total punt. And you can see the serial number on the back. But basically what I did was I found this listing on Yahoo Auctions, and the issue with all these is when you find an ECU on Yahoo Auctions, either it's the kind of general remap listing, and what they want you to do is to take the ECU out of your car, send it to them, they'll remap it and post it back to you. And the price that they're listing on the auction listing is the remap cost, essentially. I could do that, but it's, number one, it's too high of a risk. If I was to lose the ECU, if it got lost in shipping, then it would, I wouldn't have any way to operate the car when it's gone. But then also I'd be stuck without a moving car until I get another ECU and figure all that out. Number two, it would be massively expensive to ship it to Japan. I more or less know how to bring things from Japan to Ireland, but shipping things into Japan and how all the customs works that direction, I have no clue. So posting something over there and going through all the headache of that, getting to remap it, they don't ship internationally, a lot of these companies. So getting it back to Ireland would be a pain in the arse as well. I think the cost of that would end up being massive, and it's just too risky. And if there was a problem with the ECU, then you could brick the car essentially, and you'd be up shit creek. So the other way to do it is you buy an ECU on Yahoo Auctions. You find loads of listings that have ECUs that were taken out of crash cars or cars that are being broken or whatever it is. And the problem is that the ECUs are programmed to work with your key, and if they just sell you the ECU, you would have to get a key made, and certainly that's possibly possible in Japan, I'm sure. But in Ireland, there's no way. You couldn't just go to Suzuki Ireland and go, "Hey, um, get my car working again. Please make a new key for me." They wouldn't do it. They don't want anything to do with Japanese import Suzuki's, by the way, here in Ireland. Like if you ask them for parts or whatever, they laugh you out of the place. So the third option is that you find a listing for an ECU that comes with a key. This is only theory. I actually have no idea if this is going to work or not. But in theory, this is mapped to this. This came with this. Is from the same car. I can, in theory, put this into the car and use this key to both open the car and start the car. In theory, I actually have no clue if it's going to work or not. Like, is the keyless entry and all that separate to actually just turn the car on? I don't know. If it does work, the key that comes out here, the actual physical key, that if you lose your batteries on this, or you've no way to get into the car, you use the physical key to get in. I can just take the key out of my existing one, which will be matched to my locks, obviously, and put it into the new fob. And in essence, I'm hoping it's going to be kind of hunky dory. Let's go. So that is the plan. Where did I get this? This is a bit of a long story. It'll probably come into a future video when I actually install this in the car. But I found this listing, and it had photos of the front and back. And on the back, there is a serial number. So I contacted SWK, who are still very much in the scene, the modification scene in Japan, and one of the biggest players, I would say, in that area. And I said, "Hey, I found this listing. I obviously know that you're not going to support it as far as if there's any issues with it, or if it just doesn't work in my car. But based on that serial number, would you have any idea what map is on it? Because they offer, I think, about 3 different maps. One of them is it just removes the speed limiter. One of them is a performance map, which increases your horsepower, but it's made for regular fuel. And the third map is a high octane map, so it requires 98 octane fuel." So they came back and said, "Yeah, this is the high octane one. I don't think it actually makes any more power than the regular one, but it's made for high octane fuel just for safety, for detonation or whatever. But I don't have to deal with all that messing of adding fuel additive in." So what I asked them, I just said, "Look, I hadn't actually bid on the listing or anything. Like, I had nothing to lose at this stage. I just said, I'm emailing this back and forth, by the way, with SWK, and doing Google Translate on every email I send them." So you're kind of hoping that it comes through and it's understandable. But I said, "Look, if I send this, if I buy this listing, send it to you, can you change the map on it from a spec 2 to a spec 1, and then send it to me in Ireland?" So they got back and said, "Yes, we can do that. We can change the map on it for you, but we will not ship it to Ireland. We don't do international shipping." So thankfully, the person who helped me buy this on Yahoo auctions, as well as the person who helped me ship it to Ireland, is Dave from Garage K. He's been a massive help with loads of parts that I've had on both my Altos. I'm also a huge fan of his videos and live streams, so check him out on the live streams. Garage K, that's KEI, obviously. And what I did was I won the auction. I had it shipped directly to SWK. They remapped it. They did it for a very reasonable price. It was only something like 11,000 yen, which is about €70. Then they shipped it back to Dave, and then Dave did all the international paperwork and customs declarations documents and all that, and shipped it to Ireland to me. So all in all, I wouldn't say it was cheap, but it was a reasonable way to get a remapped ECU, because I don't know how else you'd do this in Ireland. And in theory, what I can do is I can put this in the car, try it with a new key, and if it doesn't work for any reason, I can go back to my old ECU, and if it does work and I don't like it, like I don't know how extreme this map is. I can actually have a look now in a second on the browser to see if I can find more information while I'm talking about it. But I can go back to the standard one if I don't want to use this one. So these guys, they just seem to have their head screwed on as far as all of their products and marketing and everything else. They go to loads of events. They set up stands there and they do special offers. They go around the country doing remaps in various different areas, so they don't have to. The customers don't have to come to them. When they sent this, it was extremely well packaged. But you can also see here that they've 3D printed a part, a cover for this. The pin out here where the connector, and it has. I don't know if you can see that, but it has the SWK logo in it and 3D printed to fit on there perfectly. So that is pretty cool service, I have to say. So yeah, let's for the crack open up the browser and let's see if I can Chrome tab window. Let's just jump into SWK. What am I doing? I'm sure I have the URL saved somewhere, but Sportswork Karumi. I think this is it. Okay, how it works. Computer. Okay, so here are all the different types here. Some of them are for the Turbo RS specifically, and some of them are for the works. So this is the limiter release, so there's no remap, it's just the limiter removal. This is the spec one with spark plugs. Spec 2 is the one that's high octane. I can't remember what that one is, the Spec 2 version up. But for the moment, I'm going to jump into this one because this is what I asked them to put on it, Spec 1. See here, the serial number, same thing, same location. So this would cost, I have to go back and have a look at how much I paid for all this. Say the ECU was something like 40,000 yen, and then I had it remapped to Spec 1 for another 11,000. So it was cheaper than buying a brand new one, but that price there is requires you to send your ECU to them or to meet them in Japan or whatever. So it wasn't really an option for me. Okay, so rev limiter change from 72 to 76. It goes from 60 PS to 78 or 61 to 79. So what is that? That's an increase of 18, which is 30% increase. Is that right? It's pretty significant. Torque is up about 10%. Speed limiter goes from 140 to 240. I wouldn't want to go 140 in that car, let alone 240. The boost control map is increased as well, so I think they allow more boost to get that extra power. Yeah, so it says high octane gasoline recommended. So drive on, yeah, okay. So the other map, it basically says it's not recommended, it's essential. So you can use high octane on this if you want, or you don't have to. Let's have a look at this. Standard ECU. Modified ECU. Flywheel torque and power. Okay, so this is the horsepower here on the right. RPM. Yeah, it's funny. The engine that is in the Alto Works is like it's not like the old Alto Works I had was a double overhead cam rev to, I don't know, 8.5 or something crazy. This is the old C chassis one, the 1993 one I had, and just loved revs. You know, didn't have a huge amount of torque low down. You really had to kind of rev it out to get the most from it. But it was a fun little engine. But this one is the one that's in the HA36S is a different animal altogether. It has loads of torque low down, and you don't feel like you have to rev it out. But if you do rev it out, it really doesn't have anything there. You can see here the peak power is at like 5,000 whatever, 300 RPM, 200 RPM, and it kind of drops off then. So it doesn't really encourage you to rev it out. And my gut is kind of telling me they did this artificially with the map to basically keep it under the 63 horsepower limit, or not limit, but kind of, you know, gentleman's agreement. Because if they let it kind of keep going on that that basis, it would have gone way over that. So at the moment, it's a lovely little torquey drivable engine, but when you want to really wring its neck, it would be nice to have a little bit more power. This looks like it, you know, does have more power when the boost comes on, 3000s. But the main difference here is it really keeps climbing, and the peak power is kind of above, say, 66. Likewise, the torque is like further spread, I suppose. It looks like it still does kind of dip off in torque after 5,000, but yeah, it should make the whole engine a bit more tractable. I mean, why not try it out? That will probably be one of the last mods I do on the car. I have loads of other things here beside me that I can run through that I want to do first. So I don't want to just like drop power in straight away. I want to enjoy the car as is in the stock power for a while, and just improve a few other areas. Likewise, the kind of suspension and exhaust and things like that, I haven't really explored those areas just yet, because I don't want to dive straight into that and make the car kind of undrivable. So that is what's going on with that. I can explain more about some of the mods that I've planned in the future. Yeah. So before I move on from looking around, because Larry does need to get himself an Alto, so let's just have one little more look before I move on. I'm going to look at car deal page. I'm also going to look at the auctions. Now, I think I have access on before to the auctions, but my way of generally doing that is JDM Auction Watch, which is an Irish company, and I have a login here where you can log in to see all of the auctions. None of the USS auctions have access through this. It's all the ones other than that, so it's not extensive. This is why contacting companies like B4 and JDM Auction Watch, if you're looking at auctions, is to contact them directly. They can look at the USS ones and their own internal systems and keep an eye out for a particular car if you're looking for one. But you can get, you know, a rough idea of what's out there outside of the USS ones. The USS ones are the biggest, but it's worth exploring as well. So, for example, if I look at Suzuki, it's not the Turbo RS because that is the automatic one. So it will be under Alto, I think. So it's funny that it depends on the site you're using. So on B4, they have a specific category for Alto Works, I think. Whereas, you know, this auction thing, you just have to dip into the regular Altos and you get loads of normal Altos, and you can search for the chassis code. HA36S, 239 of them. And then I can go manual, which will bring up all the Alto Works. So now we're on 35. So these won't be ordered by price. They're ordered by Is it by year? I think it's by year. So it's showing the newest cars first. So we want to see the opposite. 2015. Okay, so there's obviously some manual non-works in there as well. You see this quite a lot. I'm not 100% sure why that is. They give you these really, really low quality images. I don't know if they're real listings or not. My impression is that they seem to be there all the time, and it's almost like a placeholder or something, but I'm not sure. But here's the first one here. So silver bone stock. You can see kind of a general overview here before you go looking at the full listing. That looks like a bone stock car. And you can see the auction sheet here as well. And then you can go into the full listing, and sometimes they'll have more photos, sometimes they won't. But this is where you need really boots on the ground of a company that can go and inspect the car before you bid, ideally. So this car, just before I start reading all this, is a 2016 36,000 kilometers, grade 5. Jesus, that's going to be expensive. So we'll go into the full listing here. Standard stereo, nothing fancy. Steering wheel looks kind of shiny for that type of mileage, but anyway. There's no pictures of the engine bay or anything like that. Sometimes some of the auctions give you photos underneath the car so you can see the chassis, the rust, everything. It's a great one to get when you see it, but it depends on the auction location whether they do those or not. AB, I don't know why there's two there. Nothing is circled for 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive, so it doesn't say what it is. You would have to Google Translate that to see what these comments are, but A2, A1, tiny scratches around the place. So what is that? That's driver side, front, bottom kind of splitter. So down here, it's saying an A2. I mean, it looks like there's a hint of a scratch down there, but it doesn't look too serious. Yeah, so the downside of looking at these auctions is, you have no idea what that's going to sell for. You can take a punt. You can look at the deal listings and get a ballpark of what you think it would cost. And, you say, okay, well, if that was in a dealer, it probably would end up costing, I don't know, €8,000 delivered. So I'll bid in the auction at 6 and just try my luck. Worst case scenario, you just don't win it and you look for the next one. So the way a lot of these auction houses work, like JDM Auction Watch and B Forward and those kind of ones, you can't just kind of bid through an online system like this. You need to leave a deposit with them before you can even bid in the first place. And generally, you don't bid through the online system. You would contact the company, say, this is a car I'm interested in. This is how much I want you to bid. You kind of do it that way. We can see the auction location there. It's Chiba and how many hours are left on it. Yeah, so interesting wheels. I'm not really seriously going to go looking through all these, but just having a little glance. They're nice wheels. They feel a little bit boring on the silver car. What is going on with the stickers? Jesus. This is a 2021 one. Yeah, this blue color only came out later on. It wasn't there from the start in 2015. I don't know what year it was, 2017 or 18 or something like that. It came out. Grade 4.5B. Hardly any scratches. That's a nice car. I like the little yellow garnish. You can get it done different colors. It's an optional extra. It works well with the blue. Yeah. Cool beans. So one little last look at car deal page. I haven't looked at this site in a while now, so I'll have to re-familiarize myself. Alto works, yeah. Okay. So there might be some overlap with B Ford on this, because there's dealers that would list their cars on multiple kind of marketplace platforms, and then some dealers will just use one. So you can have a situation where it's exclusive. Like the car I bought was only on B Ford and wasn't on our car deal page, for example. This is a good example of one which we just looked at earlier on, with the mad pink lights and the advance. It's funny though, did that one have an auction sheet in the other site? I don't know, in B Ford. I swear it did, but what is going on with this one? I don't think I saw this one on B Ford. So this is an example of one that's probably the other way around. It might be exclusive for car deal page. They are massive wheels. They look like 17s or something. And lots of camera to make them fit. Can I make this bigger? It's a BBS. Aftermarket steering wheel. When I was looking for cars, the cheapest end of the market seemed to have ones that had some interior modifications that I just wasn't crazy about. And one of them, one thing that seemed to be universal to a lot of them was the steering wheel being swapped out with an aftermarket one. I don't like the idea of that, to be honest. I don't mind that on an older car, but if a car's got an airbag, I would never really take it out. There's a passenger airbag, so when you have a situation like this where you change the driver's side and move to a steering wheel with no airbags, I think a lot of the time that means this one is deactivated as well. You also have a warning light on the dash. You get issues with safety checks, all that kind of stuff. And then you have to go and source a wheel yourself, which brings me on to something else, which I'll tell you about in a minute. That one looks like an aftermarket stereo, but it looks like it's kind of a single DIN, and then it comes out with a bigger screen on top, which is kind of interesting. Dash cam. Yeah. Alpine. Oh, nice. Stock parts in the boot. There's a lot of camera going on there, isn't there? They say that rides like shit. And a big ass spoiler. Oh, it's got those kind of sequential lights. Yeah, I kind of like them, kind of don't. I'm not sure on them. Again, it's one of those things I didn't want to do straight away. You can actually buy kind of similar versions on AliExpress for very cheap. But I'm not sure I want to do that. That's just showing you underneath. It looks very clean. Nothing modified there. Well, sorry, there's either lowering springs or aftermarket suspension. Oh, rear anti-roll bar. I've never seen that before. That is really weird. It hooks into the suspension. That's obviously adjustable suspension. And onto the back of the rear hub. And the spring perch. Unless it's a standard one that's been sprayed, but I don't think so. That looks like it's replaced the entire stock setup. Mad. Yeah, there's a big welded plates there. Oh, that's where he's getting his camber from, maybe. Ah. Yeah, that's a lot of work. Grady suspension. That part there looks like the standard brace, or whatever you call that. The anti-roll bar runs on the inside of that. I just painted red. That is a weird setup. Oh, I was going to say the standard wheels come with it, but they're not standard wheels either. They're a different wheel. What's the name of that brand of gear knobs from America? That looks like the American one. They're quite expensive. Jesus. I mean, the boot was fairly small already, and they've got one of these strut bars along the back. Crazy. Suzuki Alto works, but it's a Land Rover Defender. There's no way that's a body kit, is it? It's just the wrong listing, I assume. But I have to look. What? When I clicked on it, it goes into a completely different listing. What is happening? Black car. I click on it, it opens a different car. Well, that is buggy as fuck. And then all the information is for, I don't know. Anyway. Anything interesting? Ooh. That's not a stock color, I don't think it's the metallic blue. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's a simpler kind of wheel, 6-spoke. In theory, it's more my style, but it's a 15 like the standard ones, and they just look too small in the car. I think they need a 16. So either stick with what you have or move up in size. That kind of just looks weak, doesn't it? Oh, what's going on here? So this is, let me just check what gearbox it's got and then I'll know more. Yeah, automatic. So I think that the Suzuki Alto works were available at non-automatic later on. I'm not 100% sure. At the start, they were manual only. But also the later ones got automatic braking and lane keep assist and shit like that. But the Turbo RS got that stuff at the start, but it's a completely different car. It's not as rigid, and it's not seam welded and all those kind of things. Yeah, see, there's extra buttons here that aren't on mine. So either this is a late car, or it's a Turbo RS trying to dummy as an Alto works. Has got the right seats and the stickers. And I think the front, yeah, the front is also work. That's unique for that. So I'm guessing this is a late car. What age is this? 2016. Something doesn't add up there for me. I don't know what's going on there. Either it's a Turbo RS dolled up like it works, or maybe I'm just wrong and you could get these in automatic. But I don't think even that braking thing was available in the works until much later. So I'd say this is a Turbo RS. Hayashi wheels, timeless, and this is this brand. Is it Technics? Something Technics. They have these over fenders that I just can't warm to. I don't know how much wider they are, but they're this kind of matte plastic that nobody seems to spray or anything like that. Yeah, I just don't like the look of it. The front bumper, I don't like the whole look of this. The only thing I do like is the bonnet scoop there is pretty cool. It looks like the fog lights are taken out as well, probably for air intakes. Be interesting to see if there's any pictures of the engine bay in this. Bright seat that's sitting extremely low. Holy shit. Must be bolted to the floor. And strut braces across the back. Big exhaust. Blacked out. I think that's an aftermarket spoiler as well, because the standard one doesn't look like that. Yeah, it just looks a bit strange with those arches, doesn't it? Oh, looks like an older seat, and then another style on the passenger side. Looks like a track car, if I'm honest. Oh, whoa. Okay. Loads of shit going on here. Gradient intercooler, is it? There's no scoop for it, because I guess it's coming in off the main scoop in the bonnet. Strut brace in a cool either titanium or stainless steel, I assume. Replacing the OEM one. Power filter again with that same kind of burnt effect. Rail welt. Yeah, I don't think he is ever going to do one of them. Yeah, I don't like aftermarket steering wheels in these. Nice gear knob. Boost gauge by Pivot. Pivot are the guys who made the cruise control system that I installed into my car. If you're interested, I put up a video for that. Crappy mats, don't like them. What is that? That's a clock. Okay. It's very stuck on spoiler. Eyelids. It's a mixed bag, this car. 100,000 kilometers, 10 grand. I mean, I suppose if you're interested in those kind of mods, it probably would be good value, because by the time you order all those parts and bring them to whatever country you're in, it's going to cost you probably a lot more than that. What is going on with this car? I've never seen this color before. It's a custom color, a flat blue with non-standard wheels, snow tires. I don't think that color suits it at all. The metallic blue is nice now, but not that. Standard engine bay. I wonder what color it was before. Silver. The fenders are plastic, actually. They're not the front fenders. They're not steel. So you can see the inside there is silver. Oh, automatic. Again. Is it a Turbo RS? Or is it an Alto Works 2016? I don't know. If bodywork has been done and they change the color, maybe they change the body kit as well. Change the front bumper to a works one. I don't know. Right, anyway, I'll give you some more updates. It's enough of that. And talk about some of the upcoming projects. So I mentioned about steering wheels. If you watched, get this plastic out of the way. If you have watched some of my introductions to the Alto and things like that, you'll know that the steering wheel is in rag order. Apart from being totally shiny all the way around, the outer kind of skin on the leather is starting to completely crumble away on the top. My car has about 157,000 kilometers on it, so you know it's high-ish mileage. But I decided to do one of two things. I was going to either treat the leather and you basically sand it down and you put on this new coating on it. The problem with that is that the wheel has kind of perforated leather on the sides, and then it's flat. It's smooth on the top and bottom. So if you do that, where you sand the whole thing down, you fill it in with this new, it's almost like a paint. It ends up filling in loads of the holes of the perforated section, and it becomes a bit janky. I don't think it really suits wheels that are perforated leather like that. Another option is that I go and bring it to a retrimmer and a upholsterer and get brand new leather put on it. But the third option was seeing if I could source a better condition one on Yahoo Auctions and getting it shipped to me. So again, Dave from Garage K helped me out on this. But he found, or well, I found this wheel on Yahoo Auctions, and it looked like it was in incredible condition. There was loads of them for on the auction site, but most of them looked real shiny, whereas this one had this kind of brand new matte kind of look on it. I don't know if that is going to come out in the camera, but it's in amazing condition. Like, it does kind of look brand new. There's no wear on the buttons. The buttons on mine are kind of half worn off in the, you know, the actual paint of the labels there. There's one tiny area on it just here that's like shiny. I don't know if that's gonna pick it up. It's just over here. See that line there? And I would estimate what happened here is somebody had a car cover on this from when it was new, and there was one area here where the car cover wasn't covering, and that's the only part that got any sort of level of wear. So it's immaculate. I couldn't be happier with it. Obviously, I will swap in the airbag from my own wheel onto that, so that will lift the inside of it a bit and make it look a bit more new. What else can I show you? I've boring stuff like service items, oil filters, what else can I show? Air filters. There's a bit of a squeak coming from the front suspension when you go over a speed bump or something like that. There's kind of like a dry bushes kind of noise. You know, I've had that on cars before in the past, and it has been the anti-roll bar bushes or drop links. So I decided to get both. So good thing about this is they seem to be shared with some other Suzukis. One of them is the Suzuki Ignis, the hybrid one, which is sold in Europe. So I could get parts here in Europe for that. So these are the anti-roll bar drop link, or not the drop links, the anti-roll bar bushes. I bought 2 of them, and I have a couple of drop links as well. So I don't know whether I'll do it one at a time and try the bushes and see if that fixes it, and then do the drop links after, or just do it all in one. But they were priced, the parts were very cheap, and they're just sitting there ready to go. It's not urgent, but what else have I got? There's one other service item. There was a guy who has a blog called Tastes Like Petrol, and he used to own an Alto Works, had it for a few years, did a load of track days in it, and he had a very good write-up about an issue that the HA36S has, which is where there is some of the truss bearings. I don't know if you can see this on camera. Wear out. So you can kind of see this is a genuine Suzuki part. Again, Garage K helped me source these. He picked them up from a Suzuki dealer, I think. And this is, I think this might be a revised design. Don't quote me on that. But it takes out the slop in the truss bearings to get worn down. And to remove, you have to take off one of the end caps or something like that to get to it, to replace them. So you need to, they're stretch bolts for that. So to take off the end cap, you have to put on new bolts. So again, they're genuine Suzuki parts. I checked the play in mine, and I took a video underneath the car while the engine was running. There's a test I found on YouTube where you can actually physically hear it, and mine is not making that noise. So I just thought, while I was getting parts from Japan, I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll have the parts ready to go if I need to. Yeah. So simple thing, but peace of mind. What else? Parts. One other big one. This is one that I've kind of been putting off, but I really need to do this probably next. is in this box here. So let me see if I can find the website. And it will help explain. Alrighty. Ooh. So I got a few parts here, but I will start with the main one. So this is from a company called Oars Racing Parts. Looks something like that. Oars Racing Parts. They've been around for a while. They seem to be involved with a load of Alto stuff, but Suzuki stuff. They do Suzuki Swift stuff and other Suzuki stuff. So what this is gear sets. Yeah, you can't really see it through that. You kind of, on the edge there, you can see some of the cogs. And what it is replacement for the fifth gear. So the Alto Works is made kind of to be a city car. And when you're on the motorway, particularly, in Japan, the motorways are limited to 100 kilometers an hour. But in Ireland, the motorways are 120. And when you're at motorway speeds, the engine is revving its head off. It's not as bad as some of the other cars I've had. It's not as bad as the last Alto had, and it's not as bad as the Honda Beat that I had. That was absolutely crazy. It was like 5,500 RPM or something at motorway speed. So what tends to happen is, because it's revving so high, you tend to drive kind of below the limit. So I'll be driving kind of 100, 110. It still has loads of power up the top end. You just feel like you're punishing the engine when you're revving that high. So what this does is it changes your fifth gear ratio, and it allows the engine to rev a lot lower at motorway speeds. So I'll share my screen very quickly here. Window. So this is the official site I bought it from. There are two Alto Works in Ireland at the moment, other than my one, the HA36S ones, and both of them have had this upgrade. Both of them put it in themselves. And so I was able to go back to them and go, hey, it's another person from Ireland. Can you please send another one? A lot of the Japanese suppliers and manufacturers don't send parts internationally. Other third-party sites might, but they won't do it themselves. But he was incredibly friendly. Couldn't be any easier to deal with, and posted over, got it within a week or something. It was brilliant. So here's what's in the kit. Two cogs, a nut, and a circlip. And what you do, I'll show you what you do in a second, but that's what it looks like when you have the part of the gearbox open, that you change it and you replace these two here with the new ones. What it does is, it means that, say, 120 kilometers an hour, which is the most appropriate for me, instead of going 4,800 RPM, you're going at 4,000 RPM, which might not sound like a lot, but that's the difference between tolerable and not tolerable if you're going a long distance. And even just for wear and tear in the engine, it's probably better to be at lower RPM. So the kind of money it was about, what is that? Say it's €200, something like that. It's not crazy money at all. Obviously, you have to pay shipping and customs and VAT and all that fun stuff as well. But here is a quick how-to for how to do this job, which I will be referring to when I'm doing it. A lot of people don't pull the engine out or anything like that. They just go in through the passenger side wheel well, take the wheel off, and take, I think, this cowling away. Where is it? Yeah, you pull off this plastic cowling here, the under tray or whatever it is, and then you get access to gearbox. This part here with all the bolts around it, and it's kind of an end cap on the It almost looks like a sump. Take that off. I don't know. He's putting the brake down. I guess I don't know why he's doing that, but take the battery out, battery tray. Remove the battery case from the battery tray, I presume. Drain the oil. What I heard one person say, actually, it might have been Caleb, one of the Irish owners, is that if you jack it up from the passenger side, that you don't really need to change the gearbox oil, that you can make it so that it won't flow out with air. You might lose a tiny bit, but when you pull the, do you pull the drive shaft out? I can't remember. We'll see now in a second. But you just need to top it up then. So I'm undecided on what to do there. My car seemed to be extremely well cared for and freshly serviced when it arrived. The oil was like, that's why I haven't changed the oil yet. It looked like it was brand new. The air filter was brand new. So I suspect that the gearbox oil has probably been changed at some point. And it probably won't need to be changed, but I'll see. So in the drain plug, put some PTFE tape, grand, yeah, whatever. Put it all back together. Remove the transmission mount, or remove the transmission mount. Okay, that must be interfering with the front cover, is it? I don't know. Steel scraper, unscrew it. JB Wells RTV, yeah, have to buy some of that or something similar. So it looks like he's driving a pin out of one of the selector forks or something like that. Taking the circlip off. I think I have pliers, something similar to that. Take everything off, clean it out. That's the orientation. Put the nut back on and hammer it in so it doesn't spin off. What is that? Insert a new pin. I don't have a new pin, do I? Oh, sorry, I might be in here. I think they give you everything you need in the kit here, so let's hope. Fill the gearbox oil. All good. So yeah, I'll be using that as a guide. So I'm kind of excited about that. When I was ordering parts for this fifth gear kit, I decided to kind of browse around the Oars Racing engine parts, suspension parts. Can't remember which it was now. And I bought these kind of aluminium bushings. Oh, I'll show you on the big camera. Hold on. So I had something similar on the Honda Beat. It goes into the gear linkage where it connects to the gear stick, gear selector, and some of them replace nylon bushings, and then other ones that I think there's rubber ones. That these four are for where the entire thing connects to the body of the car, and it takes out any flex there, and it makes it super like bolt action. I bought all these parts before the car even arrived. I had all these parts sitting on the shelf. I knew I definitely wanted to do the fifth gear one, and I bought these because I thought it would be nice to have a better shift. I didn't expect the car to have such a good gear shift as standard. So now I'm kind of thinking, do I really want to do that? It was kind of like that with the Beat. The Beat had such a sweet gear shift. I don't know why I went trying to make it better, but I put those in. It initially seemed kind of good, but then after a while, not having that that kind of give of the rubber mounts meant that it could be hard to get into gear somewhere sometimes if it wasn't exactly right. And I ended up taking them out and going back to the standard ones. So I am reluctant to do that now. I expected it was going to be some, you know, alto with shitty kind of linkages and whatever. Like the C chassis alto was like, I wouldn't call it sloppy, but it wasn't as pin sharp as this one is. So I was expecting it to be the same, and it just wasn't. Where did I? Just out of curiosity, clutch wire bush. No, it's not that. I think it might be in. I know they do discontinue some parts when they go out of stock, or they remove them. Just like, oh, here we go. Yeah, so these are the pack of 4. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. We know. Here we go. So this is the pack of 4. So it replaces. They had 2 options. They had a urethane one, and they had, which was a higher kind of geometer, strength, and then they had the aluminium type. And these are the aluminium ones. I think they don't do the urethane ones anymore. And then the other 3, this is the other kit I bought. So this goes on the end of the shifter cables, where it connects to the gearbox, and I think on the other end as well, where it connects to the shifter itself. Anyway, you can see some of them are, the urethane ones are not available anymore. The other ones are here. They were, let's say €50 for both of them or something like that. They weren't very expensive at all. Yeah. So yeah, excited for all that. That will probably be the next job I do. I just have to psych myself up for it, because I've never opened a gearbox like that before. I mean, you're not tearing down the whole gearbox, so it's not like that extensive, but still, I just need to have all the gearbox oil and everything ready there, so I'm not left stranded. I think that's pretty much all the parts. The only other things I can show you while I'm here is I can show you some of this stuff. So you probably see here, I think I showed it in one of the previous videos as well. This is a design I made. It was kind of more or less for myself rather than for the website, but you can buy it on the website, I think. Yes, you can. And Jazda, which I named the channel Jazda because I was in the middle of my first project that I put on the channel was putting a 3-liter V6 Jaguar engine into a Mazda MX-5 Mark 1 with pop-ups with a V6 engine. Fantastic project. Used the Rocketeer kit for that, and it went very straightforward, but I learned a lot on that project as well, because I was doing a lot of stuff I'd never done. I never did an engine swap, never did a clutch, never did anything. So, that was very much a learning experience. Great car. Sold that and moved on to the next project. I think the Honda Beat was after that, and I think I nearly had more fun in the Beat than I did in the MX-5 driving it. That makes no sense on paper, but that's K cars in a nutshell for you. They're just great crack. So back to the story about Jazda. Getting distracted here. So yeah, Jazda is because Jaguar, Mazda, Jazda, yeah. And then subsequently, I have a friend who is Polish, and he explained to me that Jazda is actually a Polish word. It's kind of a slang word over there, and it means let's drive or let's go. And I decided to kind of take that and turn it into a design. And we've got the Polish, the English, the Irish, which the way you would say that is Erailin, which is let's drive, and the Japanese, which I did check with Dave and a few other people, was this the right way to say it? And they said, that'll do. So yeah, there you go. I did bring this to Japan a couple of times as well when I was there in January 2025. But I have loads of other designs on the website. I'll show you the site in a second, but It's not really something that makes me a whole lot of money, but it's something that I enjoy doing. I love kind of creating designs and using my creativity and playing about with different graphics programs. So I get a kick out of kind of making designs and customizing designs and creating custom stuff for people. I started doing some more kind of embroidery stuff like this and this. This is one of my early designs, but you can see it's embroidered. I also have a patch with that same design on it. Obviously, if you know your wheels, that's an SSR wheel. Dreaming of Mark IIs is what I call that design. And the embroidery comes out brilliantly, I have to say. But I do have lots of other printed stuff. Like this was one of my first designs I put up on the site, which that is the iconic Honda Beat wheel, stock OEM wheel, which is a lovely design. What else have we got? This is the one of my most recent ones. So I took the sticker that's on the side of the H836S Alto, and it's kind of done in an orientation where the colors are all like that, and it kind of says works on the end. So I just kind of combined it all into one. So yeah, cool little design. It's one of those things that if it doesn't say Alto, it doesn't say Suzuki, all it says is works, and unless you know what a works is, nobody will know what it is, which in my view makes it cooler. Again, one of my older designs. This is a hoodie I wear all the time, so it's very worn, but it's got the kind of Watanabe Racing service kind of logo, and then it's got a Watanabe wheel design on the back. Again, there's another one I wore in Japan, which is that same, it's a hoodie, but with that same design, Dreaming of Mark IIs. And then on the back, I had this double-sided one. So Jazda, let's drive, the same kind of thing with the different languages on it. And this is an example of one of the patches I did for my last Alto, when I had my last C-chassis Alto, and I took some of the stickers and stuff that they had on those cars and turned it into a patch, which is embroidered as well. Looks really, really cool, if I'm honest. So yeah, just talking about my website for like a minute. I won't go on about it, but let's share the window again. Close all these. JazdaShop.com. So you can see here my Suzuki Alto Works design that I just showed you a second ago. And a lot of the designs I've made for this, and the ones that seem to sell the most, are really niche cars. So there's just too much competition out there for, I suppose, for kind of run-of-the-mill sporty cars like, I don't know, Subaru Imprezas or whatever, something like that. But the guys who are into K cars and into things like Honda Beats are super passionate about them, and they are far more likely. Well, there's not a whole lot of designs out there for them in the first place, but they're far more likely to get involved and be interested in the kind of stuff. Same thing with the Toyota Serra. I know a few Serra owners here in Ireland, and that was kind of my jumping off point. And yeah, that's done quite well as well. Apart from that, there's no big sellers. It's really the Honda Beat and Serra guys that are like, actually regular buyers. But I have made loads of designs. Something else I've done, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on the camera, but desk mats is something that I haven't sold a huge amount of. They're pretty reasonably priced, and they look and feel amazing. I would love more people to buy them. I'll show you. I'll try and turn this camera down, but I have a desk mat here that I use every day. And it's this kind of soft neoprene mat. It's like a giant mouse mat, basically. And let me just stop sharing and I'll show you properly. Here you go. And share again. Yeah, they are pretty cool. So I've done a few custom designs for people for that as well. Here's some photos and one I just showing you on the beat. I did one for the Alta Works as well. This is some custom designs that people had asked me to do. This is this is what I'm talking about with custom designs. Is somebody saw a desk mat I'd created. They said, "Look, can you do one just for me with my car on it?" So this is somebody's pride and joy here, and they sent me a couple of photos. I cropped them out, edited them, included them into the design. That's their wheels on the design as well. Somebody else was crazy about advanced stuff and ran through a few concepts. The way I work with the custom designs is, even if it's a one-off, even if it's just for you, and it's not even listed on the website. Like, I have a lot of designs that aren't even listed here. They were done as one-offs, and it might have somebody's number plate of their car on it, or their username or something like that, that nobody else is going to buy that design, so there's no point in listing it on the site. I'll do that, and it doesn't matter how many hours it takes me to create that custom design, and I'll sell it at the same price as anything else. So if a t-shirt costs, $25 or $20 or whatever it is, it won't cost any more for a custom design. So you can take a design that's already there and customize it, or you come to me and there is a form. Let me have a look. Yeah, so you can use contact form and make a request, and I'll create something completely bespoke for you, send you drafts and whatever before I actually go ahead and add it onto the site. And I don't charge any extra for that, because it's not really about the money. I mean, if you worked out per hour how much I was making it's nothing. It's just for the joy of spreading designs around, and kind of, people really appreciate it, I suppose, and they get a bit of crack out of that. What else can I show you? Shoes is a surprising one. I never thought anyone would buy these because they're kind of expensive-ish. But quite a number of people have bought, like this guy here in New Zealand who bought a set, who's got a Honda Beat. And this is a guy in Ireland who bought the Sarah ones. I don't know if I sold any other ones, but I think I've sold a couple of sets of the Beat and Sarah ones. If we go into the Alta Works here, I've created a whole suite of ones. This is just an example of how you could spend ages creating all these designs. This is to copy took ages replicating the seat design that's on the seat fabric of their cargo seats in the front and the rear. Put that onto a little koozie and shoes and desk mats. Created this design that's inspired by the decals on the side, and put it into a few different designs. Not one person has bought these designs yet. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. I have some for when I had my old C chassis Alto. I did sell a few of these. Again, that's an example of, I had made this red design and somebody came to me and said, my car is black, can you make a black version? And did that. That's that badge that I was showing you earlier on, or the patch. Anyway, if you're interested in any designs at all, just reach out. I'm more than happy to help you out. Yeah, was seen on Mighty Car. Maybe if I mute it. And I sent them a package with a couple of custom designs on it. That's from Marty's Mira and Moog from his Mini. I sent them some Irish crisps and stuff like that. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And yes, I've got loads of photos and loads of reviews. I'm always reaching out to people after they've bought to make sure they're happy and that there's been no issues. There's another custom design here. Yeah. So I enjoy it. That's enough of that. So what else have we got for you? I'll go back to my list of what I thought I would do on this stream. I don't even know how long I'm streaming for. 1 hour and 44. Oh, Jesus. I better check my work emails and make sure I'm not missing anything here. I can always work late, I suppose. No, that's everything. I will get to that eventually. Right. What is that? What else is on my list that I want to talk about? I thought I was going to do some gaming, but I don't know if I have time now at this stage. I talk about some of my first projects Yeah, I don't know if I'll do that. Um, I could do one. I could do one before I go. Um, so let me tee it up, and I'll get some photos up. I didn't realize I'd be talking for so long. Quite a dry throat here. Next time I'll do some gaming. I was going to play some Forza Horizon, maybe. You can let me know if that's a good or a bad idea. The only thing I haven't had is any interaction, really, because there was a few people at the very start who asked me some questions, but nothing since then. So maybe that's, if I do another one, I'll have to get a bit more involved in trying to encourage people to get involved in comments. Let me jump into my photo albums here and go way back and show you my first car. Okay. So what year is this? 2000. The year 2000. This was my first car. Look at the size of that image. That just shows you how big the images were back then. What is this? 640 by 480. That was taken with a Fujifilm Fine Pix. Yeah, that was pre-smartphone. So my first car was a left-hand drive, because the earliest smart cars were left-hand drive. I think they didn't change to right-hand drive till the next generation, which was a few years after this. And I passed my test and I had a job full time, and that I think that photo there is taken from my desk in looking down the car park from my job. And I bought one of these. They were very unusual in Ireland at the time, and they are still unusual now. You don't really see a huge amount of compared to if you were to go to, France or Italy or Spain or whatever. They're all over the place. Yeah, it was a bit of a gamble now that I think about it. What year did I say this was? 2000. It couldn't have been 2000 because the car was a 2000. So I think it was 2004 that I bought that. It was only 4 or 5 years old. Left-hand drive in Ireland is very rare, and it had a 600cc, so even smaller than K-size engine. The earliest ones had a 600cc turbo 3-cylinder. They moved to a 700cc shortly after in the next generation. I'm trying to remember how much power these things had. Testing my memory now. I think they were about 60 horsepower or something like that as standard. I did modify it eventually. I got more out of it, but yeah, Steely's kind of staggered setup. So they're narrow little tires on the front, tiny little tires in the front, and wider kind of dished Steely's in the back, which I think is pretty cool. They did come with alloys and various things like that as well, but that's the standard one that I had. They have that gearbox that everybody thinks is absolutely terrible, but once you drive one and get used to one, it's not that bad. Yes, there's big lags in between, but anyway, buying my first car was really where I first started learning how to modify and just figuring out the cars are basically like Lego. And there's loads of forums were a massive thing back then for learning how to do things. So I think here I'd gotten these enclosures that were like a stock upgrade that go underneath the dash to house the speakers in, because the standard ones were just sitting hung under the dash with no enclosure around them, and they were terrible sound. So I was putting new speakers with enclosures, who made a massive difference. But the problem is it requires you to take up the entire dash, which when you're only starting modifying cars, that was a lot to ask. So I can see some photos here, some of my mates who are looking a lot younger, tearing apart some of the electronics. Yes, there you go. There's the standard speakers. Apart from being tiny, they were just hanging there. And then eventually getting the dash out, that's me looking a lot younger. So then the enclosures just sit in under the dash, clip into some existing mounts and whatever that were there, because it was a genuine kind of upgrade. And then some very nice JBL speakers sitting inside it. Forgotten about those. There you go. It was me and me happy place. Shortly after that, I went to Mondello. First time I was ever in Mondello. There was a fellow Smart owner, which I think I might have some photos here, called Jerome, who was at a Porsche track day. He was somehow involved in the Porsche club. I can't remember why. He used to have a Porsche or something like that. But he decided to take his own smart car on track on a Porsche track day. So you can imagine how that went. There was cars flying past him. Did he take me out that day? No, I don't think he took me out on track. So it was later on that I got out on my first taste out on track. But the interior of this car was really cool. It was orange and blue and then white on the outside. It was just a weird combination. They're just the earliest Smarts were so quirky. Don't remember. Did I have it? Oh, yeah, I went to a Smart meet up in Belfast at one stage. So then I got not aftermarket wheels. They're standard wheels, but they're just from a higher spec, which were quite nice. Very nice. I love that look, actually. And they were kind of deep dish on the back. They're actually sweet wheels. Unfortunately, they have a really weird PCD. So, they're obviously 3-bolt instead of 4. So you'd have to get some pretty extreme adapters to run them on any other car. But it also limited your choice. You can see there in the rear, like how dish they were. This was a kind of a semi-dodgy mod that was done back in the day, where you can see the end of the exhaust tip there, it just points straight down. But they had these, the subframe itself had this massive torque tube that connected, from one wheel to the other. And it had this opening on either side, and it almost looked like this big, beefy exhaust just under the car. So what a lot of people did was they put in these little inserts on the end of the tips on the end, like just aluminium tips. And it makes it look like you have this big double exhaust, but you don't. Yeah, this was some of the meets. I had loads of meets with that car. I absolutely loved that car. I set up my first website on my own for that. I set up a club called smartcarireland.com. It doesn't exist anymore. Don't look for it. I had stickers made and a whole shebang. I got in with the Mini guys and a few different crews like that, because they, love small cars. Yeah, we had quite a few meets. Some really cool smart car. The early ones had a few different options for like really crazy body colors. So because they were all plastic panels, you could just like replace them. But this one was like a weird lime green with its kind of texture all the way through it, and there was 3 or 4 different like special edition ones. Yeah, loads of car meets. Forgotten about all these. Then this was at my dad's workplace before he retired. I ran a smart car meet. I had was it there I got my car remapped? I think it was. I had been in touch with a guy who remaps smarts over in the UK, over in Wales, and he basically offered to come over if I could get enough interested parties to make it worth his while. So he flew over with his remap equipment. I picked him up from the airport, drove straight to this location in Dublin, got all the people from the Smart Club that wanted a remap to meet me there. The warehouse was kind of big enough for us to actually drive into at the time, so we could house everybody there. But I think maybe he did 5 or 6, no, it was more than that, 6 or 7 or 8 cars remapped, and then I drove him back to the airport, and he flew straight home like 2 hours later. So it was kind of a cool setup. He's not around anymore, actually. That guy has died since. But this was when I was over in Wales in his workshop, and I was getting the rear brakes and a few things done. I can't remember what else I was getting done. just server stuff before I knew I could do all that myself, or before I tried it. This is the torque tube I was talking about. Yeah. Oh, water pump. Maybe it was a time belt or something as well. Must have been an aircon regas. New brakes. Yeah, these are all out of date order for some reason. Then for some reason I decided I want to try and like put my own touch on the headlights, and I came up with some absolutely terrible designs looking back now. I was getting masking tape and I was like masking off parts parts of the lights. And then I had a guy I knew who was involved in wrapping cars and doing tints and things like that. And he came out and he did this where it's like an eyelid kind of thing along the top, but it was silver and then with a black line, and it was meant to follow the kind of lights that were housed inside it. I mean, it's not terrible, but I definitely wouldn't do it now. Uh, you can see it there. And I also put side skirts on, body color side skirts, which are okay. So yeah, and then oh yeah, so went off to my first big car meet over in the UK. So hopped on a ferry, packed up the car. I had a little subwoofer at that stage, which I covered in carpet, you know, to match the rest of the color in the interior. I still have that subwoofer sitting in the garage, but all of the foams around is all got all messed up since over time. But me and God went over, and while we were there, we met somebody who's selling exhaust and put an exhaust on it. This absolutely monstrous, incredibly loud exhaust, which kind of regretted afterwards. But yeah, it is what it is. You have to try these things out. More car meets back in Ireland. I've forgotten how many car meets we had had. I must have had this car for 2 years. But you can see the interior is so crazy with its kind of colorway. Yeah, left-hand drive, and then I put these speakers into the door cards. I don't think there was any speakers there before. I installed those in. So I was going crazy for the audio stuff. A little drawer under the seat. I'd forgotten about that. And I think this was when I was getting the car ready for sale. So what I decided to do after I was finished with this and I wanted to get another car was I loved them so much. I said, right, I'm going to get another one. I'll get the larger engine one, and I'll also get a cabrio. So get the soft top. It's motorized, so it comes down and goes in behind the rear, in behind the seats, but also a larger engine. So when I bought that car, which you can see in the background here, I took the wheels off it and I put it on this to sell it. Which those wheels are nice as well, but I just preferred the other kind of more roundy, spokey ones. So I think this was me. This was all me getting ready to sell. This was me when I had both cars at once. I think this is before I actually put the wheels from that one to that one over. But that's it. It's then into I won't jump into all these, but then it went into the next one, and I went straight into the mods, of course, because I'd already done all of the the mods to the first one, and I couldn't wait to go and do the same thing again. So I was changing the tick pipe, as they call it. It's kind of a turbo inlet pipe. Yeah, good times. Got the ECU remapped on that one as well. Had it all torn apart within minutes. I've forgotten about the parcel shelf and all that. I'll put these absolutely massive speakers into the back of it. These huge, big vibe, like they were like 16 by 9s, but they were square. I must have a photo there somewhere. I've forgotten about that. Oh yeah, intercooler piping, had all this stuff going on with the larger engine. Was this one still left-hand drive? I can't remember. It's the bigger engine, but oh yeah, and I put in a Typhoon air intake or something like that, and routed it through side. I have to stop myself here because I'll keep going. Oh yeah. So then I was mentioning about all the body panels are replaceable. So I went to Smart and ordered a black center section like that, and I think I did black on the back as well. and made this kind of two-tone thing going on, and I got a front splitter and side skirts. I've forgotten about all this. Jeez, I must spent some money on those cars, and then eyelids as well. This was the later style, kind of peanut style as they call them, and another remap session, 2006. So I had somebody else over to do that. Air intakes. I want to find a picture of the interiors, remember if it was left-hand drive as well. Yeah, it was. Okay, so it was just larger engine and cabrio, but it was still left-hand drive. So my first left-hand drive. And I don't know if anyone here will remember that, but that's a Thundercats logo, which I thought was very cool at the time. And that was that. Yeah, far more sensible interior than the other one instead of the crazy blue and orange, but it still had its own character and style. Yeah, left-hand drive. And I think those last photos were to get it ready for sale. And then the next car after that was, couldn't be more different, CRX, which I'll talk about some other time. So I think that's enough for now. I'm going for over 2 hours, which is way longer than I thought I would ever do one of these for. I've had massive interaction of 3 comments. But sure, you have to start somewhere. I have to go back and actually watch all this and see how it came out as far as the quality of it. And if I'm going to do this again, will I use YouTube Studio again, the regular one, or do I have to invest in something a bit more serious? But that is it. The next time you will see me will be the next video I'm releasing is about cavity sealing and under sealing the Alto to protect it from rust and the crappy Irish weather. So yeah, Sinead. Reach out to me either on Jazda Shop or on social media if you want to ask me any questions or if you want something included in one of my future streams. Slán.